Hello, Ephesia. How are you doing?
Fine. I'm drinking my nice coffee.
That's good. That's nice. Speaking of nice coffee in the mornings, every morning I wake up, I see myself that I was in some sort of room with a lot of people, or I was given like a speech or talking to a lot of people. There's also a lot of things going on. Like I've never had dreams like this, very active dreams. And it's almost like taking over my day-to-day reality because day-to-day reality is just like a groundhog day. You do the same stuff with kids, because they're on vacation, summer, you go to the beach and back and all this. But it's like a very exciting and interesting, but also I feel like a lot of stuff coming up through me, and it's almost as if it's going from other people through me and opening up, and I find some solutions to problems that others have and tell them what to do in their situations in my dreams. But that's what the first thing I remember. When you're still opening, like you're not opening your eyes yet,
Mhm.
but ready to, and like I see the room I'm in, and it's usually kind of funky colors, like a light purple or something. Yeah, it is. Um, that's. I was gonna ask you about your dreams. Because you
Y-
were talking about this woman was the dream, about New York and things like that. Like, I feel like I definitely know they want more wars to happen. I definitely know they want more, you know, they're not happy with one part of the world being like in fear and not knowing what's gonna come next, right? Like this rockets, you don't know where they're gonna shoot them. But then also, like, look how Belarus is playing with Ukraine. Like, we're attacking you, we're not attacking you, we're not ready yet, we're ready. And now, the same thing. It's just like everybody has to be on edge. And if you're on
Yeah,
edge for a long time, you're easily controlled.
the strategy is to take out the attention from Russia to China now, and Russia and China, I feel they want this
Like,
because now America, the USA, they must look at one side and one side, and feeling, oh my God, we are afraid we can't dictate no more because they can treat us with a nuclear, blah blah blah. And
um,
again, I feel very very sometime I feel sick, about these evil reptilians that they are really destroying this planet,
yeah.
killing people for their just game, and they are the people that are never been they're never going to risk anything because these people they have bunkers, they have protection, and I can see that something is really. I feel like if we know one is quiet, very quiet, silent, with nothing moving,
Mm.
static, and then something is about to.
But a lot of things moving, look at the physical level. Red Cross guaranteed that Polk Azov, like this battalion Azov of people that the were taken from Mariupol to the I think Lugansk region, by Russians. They basically gave up because there was no point of sitting at that plant anymore. The whole city was taken, and the Red Cross guaranteed that they're going to be alive. And what Russians did, they put explosives inside where they were taken to, put them all together and exploded. The huge, it was some boric acid with something else together, or whatever, I don't know this acids, but there was something concentrated that it was like created a cloud of a chemical cloud, and then they ignited it. Because the building is like not really touched, but inside everything burned, and you can see bodies burned to bones, and then they claim that Ukrainians did that. Of course we didn't. This is our army. They actually wanted them back, but they wouldn't give them back. And now Russia passed a law saying that the battalion Azov, all the people belonging to it, are terrorists. So, they're doing like whatever they want, whenever they want, making up laws. But what does it show you? It shows you the Red Cross is a corrupt organization. Everybody's pointing fingers of, but this country is corrupt, but Ukraine is corrupt. But look, um, recently, all this since the beginning of war, I think it's more than 600 members of the government Zelensky fired because they had ties with the Russian machine, with Kremlin. They were Kremlin agents. He kicked them out of the country. He took away their Ukrainian residency and everything. But that's a cleansing act. Without
Hmm.
that cleansing, you can never build a good country. Because the good people are just those who raise the animals. Look at the guy who 400 sheep he had, right? The old guy, he's 70-year-old. He walked hundreds of kilometers with his sheep to save his animals. I
Mm,
mean, these are the real people. These
bless him.
people should be building the country, not, the ones who are on top there. It's the 20%, like I see 25, 26% the most. Those are the ones who are like bad people, as we call them. And they're all in governments. They're all spread out strategically to push away the ones with the good intentions. See, because you still see even in governments people with good intentions, but their deeds, their actions, their proposals, they usually get shut down by those evil ones.
Yeah,
Ah,
it's terrible. I feel for all the animals that they are abandoned, they killed, and
yeah,
especially for the people that had to leave the country or to. It must be a situation that is unbearable. I really feel really sad. For all Ukraine, for in general, for I think there was even zoos, yeah, that there was.
zoo was evacuated. The thing is, like, I think it just a few days ago, Russians
Mm,
circulated on all the platforms. I think a lot of people who are gonna watch this video are gonna know about the video I'm talking about. So, with they show a video at the prison for the Ukrainian army people, soldiers captured. One of them, I think he was from Azov. There, two guys are holding him. I didn't watch the video. I cannot watch this kind of stuff. And they take a little knife and they literally cut off without any anesthesia, anything, his genitals.
oh
So, I
gosh.
mean, and that's so Americans, that's so Biden, I'm not gonna say what I think about anybody. I'm just saying that all the governmental members around the world, this video circulated all around. And even after that, they have not announced yet that the Russia is a terrorist organization or the country that supports terrorism. What kind of evil person should you be to do this kind of stuff to? And in the meanwhile, Russians in Ukrainian prisons, they show it all over the videos. They can buy cigarettes, they go outside when they want, they're fed, they're given clothes, everything is fine for them because we follow the Geneva Convention rules about, but at the same time, they just do whatever. And then the Turkish president Erdogan has a deal with Putin. And Erdogan was one of those who promised also some things for the soldiers to be alive, for Ukraine to be fine. See,
I
see
mean,
who
I
those
mean,
people? Those are reptilian controlled. The reptilian sitting
exactly,
inside the container that you think is a person, but it's not a person.
exactly. So it's basically a bunch of con reptilians. I mean, reptilians. I mean, they dealing with each other, but they always do bad. Wherever you can go, left, right, center It is basically the evil dealing with the evil. So nobody wins, but many people lose because the people, the real people, is the one that they losing. Okay, the victim, the food, the energy
Um,
that they need to destroy, to eat. But anyway, we was talking about the matrix here, yeah. What is going on with the matrix right now? I'm trying. Example, in Italy now we have the elections where we know that they are just again,
uh,
it's just ridiculous. Even laughing because they are always the same people, fat, ugly vampires, because they are these parasites. They don't even call reptilians, just vampire that they, like, the leash,
right,
the what you call the nits, this what they are, and they are always the same. They change coalition, and they go to the left, to the right. It's and the people still arguing when I check in Facebook for this bunch of what can I say, charlatans. So with this, it's unbelievable. Okay,
right,
so I just watching, and the people that are still arguing, people that are really struggling, like any rest of the world, because now gas, electricity, uh, life now, the economy is changed, is very expensive. Everything is
mm-hmm,
running is up, like a lot of inflation, and these people are living in the luxury. uh, my idea was people stop to go to vote in mass. Not because if you don't want to make the game. No, the game is to finish completely. You guys are lost. You fail. You don't deliver anything. You just show. It's before we have the royalties. In every government, people, we have the royalties that they choose if you can be alive or not. They live in extremely luxury, and the people in extremely poverty. And this is what's happening again. That we call them politicians, okay? And to
right,
keep their chair in the power, they're capable to do anything. And this is the labors in the pyramids of the reptilians. When you work like a marketer, and you're trying to find client customers, yeah.
right,
These the all these parasites in the governs fight the food, the energy
mm-hmm,
for every
mm-hmm,
country to basically sustain the people the reptilians on the top. And this is what's happening. Example, and these platforms like Facebook, Instagram, they are used to collect more, energy
right.
from everywhere. And it's true that this generation of kids and people, they are judgmental with this generation. But if we think this is what we created, this is what we created for this generation. We blame
Mm-hmm.
the generation that they are, kids, they are lazy, they don't do nothing, but they are completely, let's say, uh, I don't know, when you don't not disgregated. You don't know where to go, because now to to study, to work, to have ideas is different from our generation, where there was
Right,
solid jobs that you have a clear idea what to study. Now is everything is a competition. Everything now is in the web.
right.
Everything is in this media, and there is let's say, TikTok, all these platforms, they are definitely the vampire house.
They're pushing it for sure because even like I was talking to my brother and he's
Mhm.
taking exams with kids who want to get into the university because university is going to work in Kiev where he works. And imagine they pick like we do it old way, we pick a ticket we call it with few questions and based on biology. It's biological faculty, right? And so they have to answer to him as a teacher, right? as somebody who takes the exam. And he says, Oksana, you would not believe how many times the siren went off for bombing during this exam. He said, like, at some point, people are just gonna get fed up and say, we're not gonna physically go to the university anymore. Let's do it all online. You
Hmm.
can just sit underground all the time and do it online like a rat all your life because the Russians always going to have money because they're still selling gas and there are still people who are buying gas from them to make more rockets to bomb us
Exactly.
sporadically. You never know where it's going to land. Keep everybody in fear like that, easy peasy, you know? Why not? That's what they're doing to us basically. And if people think it's just gonna like fade away and stop, no, it's kind of like a localized infection, you know. If you treat it here, it goes into the other part of the body. It's kind of like if you're an angry person, if you have anger inside of you, you have cancer of this part of the body, you treat it, it disappears here, but it shows up in another part. It's gonna be showing one way
Hmm.
or the other.
I wanted to ask about this a very interesting question regarding self healing or the way we treat clients. I know we do regression therapy, body therapy. Especially, I work a lot with people with the physical problems to remove that. Usually, the 90%, to my opinion, is psychological. It comes from our mind. We create the illness, okay,
Right,
in
we
a
do.
chronic way, and that become really serious. So let's say cancer, tumors, if you're not treated in time, sometimes we can't really do nothing if the person is not open. So my question, I feel this is my opinion, obviously, with all respect. I don't want to give false to people, hopes, but I
Mm,
have this feeling that one day I hope we will be very close, because obviously there will be a big change of mentality. There will be a massive change. All these things we're talking about, no more politicians, no more leaders, but communities. Children, they're going to receive a different education.
right,
Children, instead to be at the age of 4 and 5 erased of all the informations and memory from a past life, or where they've
right.
been before arrive, they remember everything. Instead to erase, we're going to improve the child to
Mm,
remember what it is and what it can do better in this world, instead to don't repeat the same mistakes, okay, because he knows. This is why these evil energies, they want us to be inside of the pyramid, in the triangle, to forget. The big eye is the third eye,
right. To
forget
block it.
everything. Okay, so if we teach the children how to self-healing and to study a lot about energy, the energy of the nature, animals, a bit like Dolores Cannon's mentioned in the past, that we don't need to eat animals or necessary to be, like reptilians in this real life.
Right,
So we're going to even, with my opinion, I feel that we're going even to heal people like, that they have a broken neck, broken spine. That at the moment is impossible. But because we're going to definitely change the frequency, and we know that all the ancient history left in this planet by the Anunnakis, by the other, um, I call aliens, not even humans, left here. They use the sound to move things,
yeah.
to create things, shapes with the sound. Sound to a very, very high vibration. It moves things, it
Hmm.
creates shapes. So, if going to use these techniques even to self-healing like they did in Atlantis.
It's true, yeah. Well, the movement is slowly going. I watched the other day the video how in Western Ukraine, kids with families, they got together, organized this in the hills of our Carpathian Mountains. They're growing herbal teas, and they're packing them, sending to the army, to the Ukrainian army, to the fields. Some of them are yellow, some of them are blue. You can make them. There are different flowers. They're healing for this, for that. There's ones for calming. There's this one for, staying up. Or it's just amazing because the kids are very curious. They were asking the kids, "How do you like it?" And I love it. I know which flower is good for what, to heal you this way or that way, and it's a slow motion towards. It's like you're building something beautiful on the ruins of war, on the ruins of, cruelty around the world that is all exposed all of a sudden. Look at all these organizations once away. Everybody's pointing fingers in Red Cross. But how about your promises? They're just burning up, killing, our soldiers that you promised to keep alive and, be in contact, and nothing happened. So there's a lot of stuff like that happening now. People become, and this other organization claimed something, and the Pope recently, said, well, but, and how about Trump? He said, well, but Ukraine has to give away some territories in order to stop the war. Right, let's just give the whole. We already gave them Crimea. What did we sign? We signed an agreement that we give all the weapons and we give away all the nuclear weapons. Ukraine didn't have any weapons after they gave the Crimea, and Russia in return promised not to attack anymore. Did they keep their promise? So if we give more territory, they'll just come back in 5 years with bigger army, because they use people on the captured territories just much like Reptilians do, and put them in their own army. So they expand the army all the time. At some point, they can capture the whole planet. But to me, the planet, I was really looking at it the other day in my, like, getting out of the body. And it's like as if somebody took a planet, um, melted a ball of metal into a disc, put the disc over one part of the planet on one side. That's why people think it's flat. And on this metallic disc, it's needed for creating the electromagnetic field. What we know, that everything's magnetized. And in this electromagnetic frequency field, you can build whatever. It's kind of like souls are magnetized to the surface of it and kept in the invisible barrier kind of system, because the system ends here, the sky, and then when you're out of the physical materia, then you go out in non-physical, but it's pretty much the same system. There's no difference. Somebody's judging you, somebody's telling you, and making you feel guilty to go back into the physical container again. So,
Mhm.
and the only thing we always have to know, all we need is to want to get out. Not to doubt that we cannot get out, but really know and want it. That's all. And they know
Mhm.
it.
Last week we talked about UFO that they are starting to showing up often, more often. Many people see around the world the presence. I saw a program, I think it was a few days ago. This program UFO is American, program. They're talking about UFO. That when they did the experiment to check, to show if they are real, if they use this technological, equipment. And they says
Mm,
that the army they have these drones and the shapes of planes, even some artillery that comes from the water, that is from the army. Some people thinking
mm,
they are basically UFO, but they find the presence as well. All the people they says no, no, no. People misunderstand for the shape, color, etc. So I'm talking about all these presents that they are starting to be everywhere in the world now. Use government, and we know that the technology is quite high, like Israel, Russia, and Iran, in all these places. But how you can see all these, I know they are around the world now. They have bases everywhere in UB, etc.
Mm,
But I feel that there are lot now situations where people see in the presence of the UFO, and this is the where the question is angels. Again, this is the question. What we think about spirit of lights.
mm,
Spirit of lights, guys, are other entities that trick people to, you are a believer, especially for people believe they are religious. They always see the spirit of lights in order to be tricked, okay? In order that receiving from pilgrims or for believers energy, okay,
right,
promises. If you pray for me, I can give you this because God, he will give you this to you. All this, let's say, all
right.
this. This is the spirit of lies. They recruiting basically more people as possible to create this other, you know, let's say, energy base like the institutions, because religion is institution. So spirit of lights are the recruiters. No,
Okay.
do you believe they are real angel, but the real angel that is really nice and good, that wants to help these archangels that they're talking about, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, are they real helpers or they are just the
Yeah.
the lamb, the wolf that has the lamb mask.
Well, they give you it's right. The answer to that question is right, and the name Archangel, Archon plus angel.
Mm,
So some archons took a shape of real angels, which I believe there is a planet with real angelic type looking beings, but they
mm,
just don't have access here simply because they don't resonate with this very low vibrational place we're
mhm,
at. And they just took over that idea. They always take ideas from somewhere, right?
mhm.
They just
Yeah,
they're not able to make it just up. It's kind of like and then I saw, by the way, I saw this, I keep seeing this. I saw a laboratory on one of the planets. It wasn't on a spaceship. It has, those crystal skulls they always talk about. I didn't
mhm,
really research this topic, but they had tons of crystal skulls in some sort of like containers, in some like cubicle containers, and they had like lots of cords attached to them. And the scores, when I followed, it was in my one of my visions, they went to some of the skulls of the governmental members. And they had this almost like scarica electrica, like impulses, electric impulses. And they would like, by doing the impulse, it would activate this or that program, or this or that speech recording that the person would give away, would talk through. You know what I mean? Just like
mhm,
wild. I still remember that room was kind of like a light purple color and a lot of grays there. It almost felt like this grays had like a purplish skin, but I think it's from the lightning,
mhm.
light.
Like a psychedelic colors.
Yeah, right. And I felt very kind of like, like your consciousness gets a little ooh, like there's something in that room that makes you like that. As they were calmly walking around, they didn't see me. But I realized they're creating the skulls, they fill them up with programs, they use them as computers. Computers are connected to the physical computers,
Mhm,
processors of the physical so-called people. But when you look at the people, it's just a container with a partially squeezed in soul in there, but it's only partial soul. It's not, and the rest is artificial.
mhm. Okay, how, especially healers, people that really here in this planet, because we are obviously I always I shout, in YouTube, please allow the more healers to arrive and to help to study. There are people with natural gift to use, if it's not for work, but to help the family, friends, neighbors,
Mm.
because we're going to need. So how the real genuine healer recognize a real angel from these low energy beings, because they try to connect us. It's like that we have these antennas, and then we receive interferences where you have to move the antenna, yeah, to connect with the right source. Okay.
Yeah, but the angels, like at this, they can't really connect to us. We're just bottled up in this low vibrational bottle
Hmm.
of, it's like a bottle of champagne. You fill it up with souls, you put a cork on, and you make sure that these people that it's kind of like they take the soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, they take away their phones. There's no connection. They basically erase our memory, cut off all our connection, possible even connection to any of those higher, higher, higher vibrations. How can we connect to something very high if we are in a stream of low vibrational energy? It's like a river of vacuum of low vibrational energy all around us that prevents us, that blocks it, blocks any waves coming from us. And because it's done on purpose, I mean, they really thought everything out. Of course, they would. If you really need souls for sopravvivenza, I don't know if he's I just look at you and I, I gotta tell him words for living, right? Because they're gonna die. So you would really think hard how to keep those precious souls in that container on this Earth's little disk that they created. I mean, I don't trust anybody. I mean, even people. The whole design of the whole system is for everybody to lie to each other. It really is made that way. And it takes enormous strength in a person and self control not to lie even about little things. You know what I mean? I mean, you just see it everywhere. And you
Hmm.
realize that you cannot trust people. I don't trust with anything, people. I really don't. I mean, only the ones that I feel with my heart and I see them as like light and pure, and you just know it. You know it when people are telling you the truth.
Yeah. What about with our energy? Because we have a very powerful energy. We don't need this external help, because the energy
No, we
inside of
don't.
us, because we create the matrix. Everything which I try to sometimes to explain to
Hmm.
people, but it's like you break their heart when you say, obviously people says, oh, Ephesians, this is your opinion, this is what you think, this is fine, absolutely fine, but I'm not using anymore. Oh, please, if you do that, even the universe, if you pray to the universe, you create again another form of dependency. I need you,
Right.
then you help me, and then I have to give you something back. The universe, guys, is
Right.
inside of you, so you don't need even. I pray my universe is myself. I want, because you is your energy. It's like you again, when the famous example that even agrifies it, the British, but I agree with this line. It's like you having millions and millions of dollars in bank, and you don't know, but
Right.
you are
That's
still
Carrada
asking the
Malanga said
help.
that before.
Yeah,
That
Corrado
was
Malanga is the
example.
one that,
Carrada
yeah.
Malanga.
If you, it's like, I mean, guys, I have $1 million inside of me. I have all the power, the talent, the creativity. I can self-heal in myself. I can teach. I can remove problems for the people they're not, the third eye is not ready, because third eye is like a baby that open up the eye until it's
Mm,
open and becomes adult. So he needs experience. He needs to make it up with his own consciousness, perceive this world with his own consciousness. Okay, and
right,
then when the third eye is finally open, experiencing the good and the bad, he can use their own power to decide in which part of the consciousness you want to live, which the ideal is to be balanced, because we need the negative consciousness to understand the positive consciousness. We need both, but we need to be balanced. So
right,
the thing is that if we delegate our already big, massive power to all this creation, to all this, matrix, um, it's like we are doing the same game of these reptilians. Okay, it's like a cartoon. These Japanese
right,
cartoons where they're fighting, where they
right.
basically the robots killing.
They
They
condition us by
ex-
using this. Everything
exactly
is conditioned. We're
even the
so
movies.
conditioned to always look for help. This is the biggest program conditioning, whatever you call it. It's just the way it is. You always, because it's like also tied up to the physical body, sometimes needs maintenance, right?
Hmm.
Like the simplest one, the one that we hate the most is like tooth is hurting. Like, what do? You just like don't remove infection by yourself if you have to go to the doctor. But then from this goes like for everything, I need somebody. Well, I it's like lately, I've been doing a lot of sessions for Ukrainians, and some of them are very strong, and others are like, oh, poor me, they destroyed my house. I totally understand. It's heartbreaking when you're working all your life to buy this and that for your house, to feed the animals, to buy the animals, to keep them safe, for your kids, everything. But the thing is, when after a session, 2 weeks later, Oksana, I'm not feeling well again. Can you cleanse me again? Like, that's the whole point. You need only one session normally, unless you have extra questions, like 6 months later, to your soul, and you cannot connect yourself, or you don't trust yourself to connect, because it's all about
Exactly.
trust. Because you really can. It's just that you don't trust that the answers you get really come from you. You think you make them up. Because that's the conditioning of the our mind, physical mind, that we make everything up. It's just
This is happened with some clients, which they was completely clean up. Even the health erased the bang quickly. They
mm,
heal because this is their work. In the end of the day, we guide them. It's like we show them up and they explore and they finally they find all the source of the self medicament, which is
right,
energetic, and they clean their own body, and they you can see them very happy for a week, 2, 3, then again they become to low the energy again. I
right.
don't know. I don't feel, and because you don't believe in yourself. Again, you started to forget that you have millions of
It's
pounds in
all
the bank.
automatic, right?
Sorry
It's
if I make this
auto
example of the money.
continuation of your life automatically based on the previous programs, based on the pre habits. It's a habit. Okay, if
Yeah,
you have a habit all your life, you're eating ice cream in the middle of the night because you wake up at 3 in the morning and you will need ice cream, unless otherwise you won't be able to go to sleep. And if you've been doing it for 10 or 20 years, of course you're not going to be, it's going to have it's going to be very hard to change that habit. But that's what life is all about. This is like a
exactly.
body computer runs on habits.
Yeah, this is why I know that, I mean, when I talk about these things, angels, and I'm touching a very delicate subject, because many people they believe in angels. I don't want to tell people that Father Christmas doesn't exist, but I just say to them, please be careful, feel, try to really go deep in the deep clean energy to feel if this angel is definitely what you feel because says, "Oh, I feel love. I can see the light," and they tell me the good. And sometimes they help. They give the right informations. But again, what
They
we
play
don't
with you.
try, yes, what we don't try to focus to check with your inner self. Try to connect with your inner self, with your I self.
Mm,
So your inner self is you, your soul, because we know soul split. Sometimes it can split even in three, four. They are working still in the spirit realm where we
mhm.
come from the source, and they still connect with us. We are It's always us. It's our consciousness that is talking with us.
Yeah.
And this is why we have to try at last to give us a chance. For once, I ask only to don't depend for any external sources, but from your. It's like you have you puring from own, from whole source, the information.
Right.
You
Well,
understand?
it has to be,
And
it's like their
so
own process, right? It's like based on my experience, like have you ever tried to like ask for angels help? I mean, I tried just like because I grew up in scientific family and all scientists, you do experiments and first of all you do them on yourself. And when I asked for help from Archangel, whatever that was, Raphael, I think he's supposed to be healer or whatever. Um, but that was back then when I just woke up. And when you just wake up, all you see is this new age stuff about angels and helpers and guides. And like crazy stuff were happening to my health. Like problems that I never had before started showing up. The doctors were terribly mean, or they were drilling the wrong tooth instead of the right tooth. And of course they were showing me rainbows when I wanted to see the rainbows. Like literally on the wall, I would see a rainbow. Okay, and they would just for confirmation that here I am, I'm here. But then when I looked at it, it's just a reptilian playing around with me. I'll give you help here, but I'll make create a terrible situation that you suffer so much you feed me energy here. And then in that terrible situation, you go, "Where's my angel? Why does he help me?" And then he shows up again. "I'm gonna help you now after you suffered a little and
exactly,
fed me." So it's just a game of this stupid. But once you get, there's no way you can get out of the matrix until you get rid of this mentality of somebody's gonna
exactly.
help. So that's it.
Yeah,
Mm.
this is the word I was trying to find. Sometimes this is for some reason this word bound. You know the bound to give always something. So what they want the spirit of light from us, the bound. Because if I pray 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, morning when you wake up, lunch,
Mm,
dinner, you are bound. You give a bound, okay? You depend. You
um,
have to do something that, oh, you have to stop everything like, Muslim people that
Dependence,
they
yeah.
can pray. Yeah. And you are feeding them. You are feeding them with this energy. So this is why I give up even before to focus to finally get out from that box that I needed. You know the the church, the all these saints, which I always says I believe that Jesus Christ existed, and I think he was exceptional man. This is my opinion. I think this guy was definitely was an alien, was somebody that was too beyond for that. This is why he decided to try, okay, to educate, to send the love. And I really believe that this guy was exceptional. But they, like everything, transformed this good um, energy in a bad energy with the church, changing with the Bible, the informations. I mean, if people read the Bible, oh gosh, all this is everything. Don't do this, do that. The woman must do this. You must, do that.
Well,
You know. And talking about this stuff is just to understand that you have to read the book from thousand and thousand years ago changed with the centuries, and people still believe. I mean, they still
Mm,
believe of things that they are, I mean, even a child understand that. I mean, that they are taking the piece of what. And this is why many people they don't live anymore with this, let's say, medieval or whatever, you know, age of stone mentality of the Roman
mm,
Catholic. The Roman Catholic they created this politics before the Bible was right. So you can't believe if people going to check how the Romans, the old Rome, they live, the way they treat women, the way they have the politicians. This is the way they write the Bible. And was not Jesus Christ that write this Bible? No, guys, no. Was other people that used this power, okay, for their advantage, and that it was these entities arrived. The spirit of light we created. You must create spirit of light with the Bible, with all these legends, okay. um, the angel that goes in front of Mary impregnated her. So all these
yeah,
messages, we know that we have the night abductions. Yeah, I believe in this.
of course we do. The thing is, like, see how they if you create genetically manipulate, because Syrians did that too. Anunnaki used Syrians because they knew a lot of genetic manipulation
Yeah.
to create a body container for a soul to contain on a certain planet that you created the surface for this, like a container, big container, little containers with the souls inside, walk around and live their lives. And then you want to be dominant force and control the whole system, right? And so basically, you can use those souls in containers as your slaves, also to get resources from the ground, from the planet, anything you want. So Anunnaki were the ones who, for me, made up the story about Jesus because they wanted the Jews to be dominant force on the planet because that's the Jews carried mostly the genes of the Anunnaki, so they wanted them to be their own slaves, right? And they could connect better through the vibrational frequency of this DNA, well,
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then on the other hand, you have this Roman Church, which to me is like Nordics or tall whites. And they want only basically was that comes all the other stuff. You know, the other kind of front line of, and that's a conflict. Who's going to be in charge of this earth? And that's when the whole thing starts. So the Nordics invented Hitler and made up all these things, like the body, the soul, the program. Hitler's going to kill all the Jews because we want to be in charge of the planet. Because look what they did. They did the Bible thing, the Jesus thing, and everybody wants to believe in Jesus now. And no, 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 no. We're going to create our religion, our force, our Hitler. And so basically, I feel like Nordics and Catholics are now acting through Putin, right? Because it's always like I see this, the deepest military bases are still in Antarctica that I see. The laboratories, they come from Siberia, Russia, into all these cold regions. So that's all connected why they captured Russia because it was the closest country to genetically manipulate to insert their program of dominance. Because you know what Medvedev did? I think he was under drugs. Medvedev, who used to, who's close to Putin, he wrote some post on his website, and a lot of people read it before they deleted it. And they said, oh, somebody broke into his page and wrote it for him. No, no, no. He actually was probably drunk and really wrote exactly what Kremlin thinks. They said, Georgia is not a country. It's never been a country. They just made it up. Therefore, it should belong to Russia. So Georgia's next. Baltic countries, Latvia, Lithuania, they're not real countries. They were just made up. And the language was just made up. So therefore, we're gonna attack them next. Moldova, Kazakhstan. They said next after Ukraine is Kazakhstan. We're gonna attack the Kazakhstan, and it belongs to Russia because it's just a made-up country too. And after that, and this is the truth. That's how they think. That's the dominant force of this reptilian Draco force. They want to one country after another. And imagine if the former Soviet Union all became one again, and they created the army from all those billion, I mean, I don't know how many billion people would be together all together if you put them all together, and they would just storm in the little Europe. Little Europe would give up. That's it. And plus, if China connected to Russia and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, let's do something to the United States and the Europe," that would be it for the Earth, for this creation. It's fake creation, but we are real. Our bodies are real. They hurt. The container does hurt.
This is why this there will be definitely a blow up, and that's what we're going. There will be this famous transition that we saw. The humanity will be more close. They're going to help each other, but there will be a lot of, half of humanity apparently will going to
Right.
disappear. And there is even these wars, the nuclear, that is creating even more global warming. So imagine if there will be a war, a nuclear war. Imagine the climate. There will be problems. We do not only to have to deal with these monsters, with these reptilians, but we have to deal with Mother Earth that is she's shaking her body and take all these parasites from her head, okay, from her body. And this is what's
Mhm.
happened when in this genealogic transition, the horse like moving, yeah, to the
Yeah.
ends, and they re-come back. So what's happened is it moves, shakes, and that is when we have a lot a natural for us disaster. For the nature is rebalancing, and this is why many people are afraid that humans can be disappear, like the dinosaurs. If you imagine huge animals like dinosaur was destroyed, for us, this
Mhm.
is why it's so desperate to go to find a life in Mars or in other planets because they are so desperate to creating even uh, I think they are already creating these platforms with the let's say these cities, yeah,
Mm,
um,
mm.
not fake but
On other planets, you mean?
artificial cities to
Mhm.
keep the humans alive. Okay, but and because the planet to with all the gas that natural gas the real nuclear will be when the
Mhm.
the planet will go to shake up when there are the natural gases that come from volcans, from the water, down of the
Yeah.
water. That is the real nuclear, okay? So, and nobody can stop Mother Nature. So this is where there will be, they will take even years and years, maybe centuries, to rebalance. So the question is, we're going to be alive? We can make it?
It's already happening. I was just talking to this Russian client of mine. She lives in Krasnodar, which is like south of Russia. And she says in Sochi, they had amazing flooding. So one after another, cars were floating. Everything was just like, it's just like when you look a video, it's just like it's never happened before there. But then there are clouds and clouds of grasshoppers who eat all their crops came. And even Russians now are saying this is just we're punished by God, you know, because they know that they're not doing, for them, a lot of them are just like it's easier to be justifying yourself, your actions. Well, if we didn't attack Ukraine, look how Biden would attack us. Look how NATO would attack us. And I hear a lot of people say that if we didn't attack Ukraine, Ukraine is a puppet of America. Ukraine would be attacking Russia. Of course, we didn't have any desire to attack anybody. Ukraine never attacked anybody. But it's a whole manipulation game. And you kind of like sitting back and looking at all this. And nothing makes sense anymore, but it's on purpose because you have to shake it up to the absurdity of the situation so even the dumbest people can understand it's absurd. It makes no sense. You know, people should kind of be shaken that way at some point.
I mean, they created with the art this the way. The people still justifying the action of Russian to country because NATO they should do their own business. Why they create all the bases around Ukraine? Why Zelensky was working at creating these labs with the USA? Blah 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 blah. When we know the labs that are
Mm,
everywhere.
It's China and Russia
Uh,
creating the labs. Look how many bioweapons they used. Look at Chubais. He runs away from Russia, and that very moment he runs away, he ends up at the hospital in France, I think, with some Steinbar or whatever syndrome.
what is the
Or
name
out of
again?
the blue, Chubais.
Two
He was
buys.
very close to Putin, very close. Everybody talks about it, like how it is. Like everybody who tries to run away from the Putin's mafia group either gets poisoned and dies, just food poisoning, no big deal, but you die. Or you get like some biological and neurological powder on your hands from the handle, or like some gas in your living room that you kind of like get paralyzed from it. Like who is developing all this? Of course, Russia, because that's their people. He's killing their own people because they know too much about what they really are doing. If they I've seen people, civilians in the videos. It's heartbreaking to see, but they would like cut off two of the fingers on this hand, on the half of the body they would just chop off the meat, just for fun. And no big deal. And then these people return without fingers, without like parts of their body. That's what we do. It's fun, but
This
they're
is what
feeding the
the
reptilians
reptilians,
who live
yeah,
in them
they don't have
through
feelings,
torture.
empathic, and we know this. They are basically raised to kill people. This is, oh, but he's a good soldier. I mean, my
Satanic kind of.
brother-in-law is a soldier. He's a nice guy, but he's still a soldier. If he has to do his
Mm,
job, he has to. And I don't want to justify nobody or to be judgmental, but because we need people says, okay, we need protection, we need soldiers, we need the police, because for the people to defend for the bodies. Again, I come back to this to the root of this chat. We can talk about war forever, but what we are saying here is that we're trying to spread the word that people have to change perception, to focus,
yeah.
to don't need external help, to go to the check to their own consciousness, to connect your inner self, to understand what is right is good. When people realize, because again, we need negative to understand what is the positive. Negative doesn't make any good, but we need to understand where we can't cross the line.
Yeah.
The anger help us to give us the alarm, the sense of dignity to protect ourselves, but we never
Yeah.
cross the line. Every time we cross the line, we are open a door, a portal for these entities. So this is why we need to have this line, this balance, good and bad at the same level, yin and yang, woman and man. So
Right.
we can talk about politicians, institution is always a matrix, which is a vortex, and sometimes we are, let's say, swallowed by this vortex. Okay, so we have to get out and just starting to look this vortex that we created and we
Mm.
allowed it to open the portals, creating all these entities, creating institutions. We allowed other beings to the quickest way for them to get us was because we were stupid idiots, because we opened the portal to reptilians, to Nordic, to Syrians, to other people, because the human is arrogant for nature. We
Yeah.
think that when we colonize this planet, oh, the planet is mine. I'm
Yeah,
the human,
colonization
I'm the
happened
intelligent.
before. Yes,
That's
sorry,
it.
interrupted you.
That's okay.
I mean, I saw how they colonized Syria, how Nazis came and colonized it. And of course, they did some genetic manipulation, mental program. They basically turned those people into killing machines, humanoids, Syrians. The same way they want to. That's why hundreds of thousands of children were deported to Russia because they want them to turn them into, I hate Ukraine, Russians. Because when you're a child, you can put any programs in your head,
Exactly.
and then the matrix will always exist till, see, it's like America and Europe against Russia and China. So there's always, and if that didn't exist, that conflict, and but that goes deeper. It's about alien races, not really about people fighting with each other. People don't, they just want to raise kids and have families. But then the matrix would fall apart, and the matrix was falling apart, I believe. But that's exactly when they created this war to ignite more flames and fuel into the matrix,
Exactly.
continuing.
But many people, they are getting out from the matrix. They understand that nobody wins, never win. Nothing is forever. Okay. And until the day, the day when a human, the container, like we talk about it, understand the limits, people
Mhm.
stop to have fights, and yeah, because in the church you they preach, but they do completely the opposite. We know the
Right.
Vatican, they sell arms, guns, etc. You
No,
know
the
what I mean?
churches, the
You-
Russian churches, all were filled with ammunition, guns, bombs, rockets.
Everywhere, Oksana, can be not only in Ukraine, but can be the war in Syria, can be in Afghanistan, can be the poor
Yeah.
Iraqis, all
Oh,
the
they're
countries
fighting for Syria, and I think
they are killing
Syrians,
every day. They
Turkey
dying
and
every
Russia.
day. Exactly. So it's again, we have to get out from this. What is good, or this is the good, is the bad. It's because it's always a
Yeah, it's
vortex.
not the good and the bad. They're just like opposition forces always created to
Yeah, they
oppose each
want us to
other.
see who's the good and the bad, but this is the programs. When we get out, this is why I say everybody connect with your inner self, with your own soul that gives you. This is the who gives you. Spirit guide is always you. Spirit guide is always you. This is why I don't call spirit guide because I talk directly. I connected with myself. I can't put two radios together when the radio or itself go to connect with the ondas. So I don't need another radio if I am a radio.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, we can end on this note.
Yes.
It's
So
probably a good
I hope to the people to, I mean, we don't respect, I don't say that people they believe in now in the views, they are wrong, or they are just to think about it, to give the chance to yourself in a good way, like you was doing, thinking, believing that there are other external help. What instead to help, to ask help when you checking your own resources. That's it. I don't want trying to be mean with anybody or unpopular with my ideas. I
okay.
really feel this is what I channel. And yes,
They can play around and they can see if they ask help how their life is, and then say that, get away from me, disconnect from all the help, and see how their life is going to be there. If they really, because we're not trying to convince anybody, we're just saying what that's my experience, my personal experience. I mean, life goes the way I want it because I don't, you know, didn't ask any help or anything. But and then you go through a kind of like experience yourself and all the situations we go through. I mean, we get a lot of understanding and wisdom
mhm.
from each situation in each segment of your life.
This is why again we talk about trust yourself, trust your intuition.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
exactly.
really, I mean, when I say trust yourself, believe that you are more than what people think. The people think that you are limited in I mean, yes, in a physical way, but in a spiritual way, you are dimensions, and we talk about dimensions, guys.
Yeah, who cares what people think anyway? It's
Hmm.
important what you think about yourself. And a lot
Exactly.
of people don't have an opinion about themselves unless they get certain about an certain amount of likes on Instagram or certain views under the videos, right? That's the only way they shape their opinion about themselves. But that's their experience. At some point, maybe they'll understand that's not the way to do it. But so I guess that's the main message.
Good. Yes, and that is
Figure everything out yourself
I'm
for
agree with
yourself.
you definitely, guys. I mean, everything people they selling everything these days. People they says, "Oh, this is better. This is good. This uh, is people they are completely. I know it's confusing, but when you do meditation, when you take your peaceful moments for once, do as experiment. If it's so difficult to to leave your source of, let's say, a medicament. I call them medicaments. Yeah, I take this pill because making me feel better. So if we take off from some people some ideas or some
Mm,
conception, it's like we're taking off the pill. Okay. So, and I was one of them before. I thought, okay, I never was attached anyway with the religion in general, but I've been hung up with the politics, which was
mm-hmm.
I don't regret because I needed to understand what it was. I was aggressive. I was definitely my party was the best. What are you talking about? Is crap. This is a thief. And then I understand when I get out. I realize I was part of the game. I was what
Right, like a
they wanted.
conductor of
Exactly.
their
And
electrical currents.
religion is the same because when you say to a person, "Oh, you have to kill because you go to paradise and you explode your body," I mean,
It's a
how?
condition
Wow, and or if you married that you are not virgin, oh God, put you in the
another
hell.
condition, right?
Exactly. And it's God, and then they say, "God bless you, God bless you."
Conditional love.
Exactly. I love myself. I'm blessed myself. Because when people they don't like you are not God. Okay, if God is perfect, why He create us, which we are imperfect?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, isn't it? This is why we come back to the consciousness. But we can carry on to talk another day. Next time, I want to put a topic about. I was very curious about this, which I saw. There are all these, another. Mental vampires in Facebook and in the media, the
Oh, yeah.
three-dimensional learning. Like you read a book in less than an hour, like pages and pages. You do this, and you know everything. Like Phenomenon, the movie of John Travolta, yeah, that you can
Mm-hmm.
read. And so, people, be careful of the scammers, okay? Because they are really the same soup, sold in different names. Okay, so we talk about three-dimensional
Good
language
idea.
because it's very interesting. So thank you, Oksana. I know that you have
Thank you,
a long
Fize.
day, and yes, speak you next week. Stay with me.
Okay, thanks. Bye.